Ever since I was a kid, I've always had a fascination with two different types of games. Games where you automate things and games where you make a tycoon. Both of these things were extremely interesting and engaging to me, and honestly, over the years that hasn't changed a bit. I still enjoy tycoon games, and I dream about games like Factorio. In fact, I made a video about Factorio a few years ago due to the fact that it's one of the most interesting and exciting games I've ever played. I don't have a ton of hours in it, but I have enjoyed every single hour that I do have. But even with the amazing game that's Factorio, I sometimes feel like it's missing something. A sort of depth that's needed to make the game feel exciting. What's that? That depth is called making it 3D? Absolutely. Satisfactory is a game that's extremely similar to Factorio, but as you can assume, it's in 3D. You spend your time building an insane factory on a bunch of different levels in order to reach your goal of having the game play itself. Think of Minecraft Tekkit, but on steroids and with inspiration from Factorio and a smidge of Alien Planet thrown in. The epicness of this game is hard to grasp, so let's go into detail about what it's about and why it's so freaking awesome. We're going to cover both of those things in today's video, talking about why Satisfactory is so awesome. So let me start off by giving you the gist about what Satisfactory is and how it works. You're thrown onto an alien planet as part of Fix-It Incorporated, and you're tasked with being their unpaid and overworked corporate slave that does all of their company's manufacturing and exporting by yourself, alone, with no sleep. The backstory is that you have to send them parts that become more and more complex as you progress. But you can't make all of these parts by hand, so you have to build an entire network of factories in order to make it happen. You start out with the bare minimum, a simple hub, some resources, and 2 biomass burners to produce energy. Your goal is to utilize the resources on the planet to create larger factories that give you the materials needed to progress and send manufactured goods to fix it. You start out by mining some iron, and then refining it, and then crafting it into plates or rods, which you could then turn into screws, which you pump back into the supply of plates to make reinforced plates, which you can then combine with something else to make something else, and eventually give you the parts that you need to send up to the space elevator to unlock new machines to make more parts. It's a game of engineering and planning, and you have to try to expand to meet the company's needs, all while keeping your factory as efficient as possible. There's a constant mental challenge when you know that you can do things better, and you're always working hard to improve your design in order to make that happen. And this brings me to my first point about what makes this game so awesome: the mental challenge of planning and implementing those plans into a functional design. There's something so satisfying about mentally challenging yourself in a game. Think of when you solve a puzzle in The Witness, or when you finally beat that godforsaken bull boss in Sekiro. The reward of accomplishing something is much higher when you have to put in the work to reach your goals. This is the main psychological aspect of Satisfactory, and that's why I keep coming back to it when I'm looking for something to play. Once I work towards my goals and realize that I need to change up my entire factory to get the resources needed to progress, I have to be able to redesign everything, all while keeping it running smoothly and efficiently. A good playthrough will result in you redesigning your entire factory multiple times, and each time it ends up looking better and making you feel even more accomplished. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this game is the same as Factorio, because it's not. While the concept of automation is the same, it's not as if one of these games could replace the other. Satisfactory has a much more casual feel to it, and it doesn't make you get terrible anxiety when you log off and remember that you never finished an assembly line. But I will say that the depth of being able to create something in a 3D world makes it much more immersive for me personally. Being able to take your conveyor belts and overlap them with one another, creating a twisted mess, is enjoyable. And while your brain will constantly suffer since it's so hard to make things look nice, it's still super cool. This game is a constant challenge that doesn't get any easier as time goes on. As your factory grows, so does your power requirements and the resources that you need to keep it all running. You have to make sure that you're generating enough power to keep the machines chugging along at all times. But when you make more biomass burners early in the game, you're going to have to focus on getting enough fuel to keep them all running. And just when you get them up and running again, you hear the inevitable noise that tells you something isn't working. So you gotta go through, troubleshoot, and figure out if you need more fuel or if something else has gone wrong. In theory, this honestly sounds kind of annoying and tedious, but it's entirely up to you if you want to worry about it or not. You can try your hardest to make a nice, streamlined, efficient factory, or you don't have to. There's no set way to do things, so if you want to make your factory absolutely hideous and slow, you can do that as well. The game is very open-ended and creative, and it allows for different playstyles that fit different players. This open-endedness takes something that could be looked at as stressful and turns it into something enjoyable and stimulating. It's up to you how you want to play the game. This goes even further when looking at the different regions you can work in. Instead of giving you an infinite, randomly generated world, you can choose from 4 different starting areas: Grass Field, Rocky Desert, Northern Forest, and Dune Desert. Each of these areas provide different challenges and playstyles, and it's up to you for which one you want to follow. On top of these, within each of the regions, the world is extremely diverse and interesting, and exploring is often pretty rewarding. You can find different types of animals and planets and resources along your journeys that spice up the factory building mechanic. Sometimes it's nice just to walk around, take a break from your machines, and see what the world has to offer. I will say that this is something I like much better than Factorio because it gives a reason to explore and you can find some really cool things. So I touched on the mental challenge of the game, the amazing open-ended aspect of it, the feeling of accomplishment you get when you complete your challenges, and the cool worlds and exploration of those worlds. Now I want to get more into the specifics. I want to talk about how this game makes you feel. Satisfactory is much different from Factorio in the sense that you can do things on your own time. There aren't really any enemies that are a pressing threat, you don't have to worry about defending your base, and your resource nodes are unlimited, giving you ample time to complete your task and upgrade your factory. This freedom makes Satisfactory feel extremely relaxing and serene, even though, ironically, you're playing a game where you're working. It's kinda nice to put on some Spotify and think through your problems as you try to fix them one by one. The only real challenge in this game is your own brain. It's up to you how you solve your problems, and you have to use your imagination to think of practical solutions. I touched on this before, but there's no right way to play this game, and being thrown into a world that doesn't hold your hand is always something that I appreciate. This game gives you time to work on your problem-solving skills and see how well you can determine a creative solution to a rather simple problem. And stepping back to climb a tower and see how your world has evolved is another thing that really hits a personal note with me. You see every step of your journey, and you could see the first machine you put down all the way until the most recent one. It's a similar feeling to logging into an old Minecraft world and walking around to see what there is to offer. You look at the old buildings you built and you think, wow, I remember the old days when all I did was build this little tiny square house, and now I have a giant mansion. All of these things go together to create a very exciting experience, and it helps to make this game so freaking awesome. And after fighting all of your personal obstacles and sleep deprivation, you will have a very satisfying feeling once everything is automated and running smoothly. You will feel very satisfactory. God, that was so funny. Coffee Stain Studios really killed it with this game. I'm honestly impressed with how well it's made and how addicting it can be. I'm telling you right now that if they could nail down a killer, relaxing soundtrack with some steampunk vibes, I promise you that I will quit my career as a YouTuber and spend all of my time playing Satisfactory. And you should too. This studio has done a great job and you should most definitely support them by purchasing this game. As always, I promise that you won't regret it. Another thing that you won't regret is checking out Pixel Empire, the sponsor of today's video. Pixel Empire is your one-stop shop for gaming and pop culture themed apparel and artwork. I'll tell you right now that I'm very selective with picking sponsors on this channel, and they were the first sponsor that I ever said yes to, and I love their products and their company more than you can even imagine. They've recently been killing it with their face mask designs, and they have new ones every Monday with a deal that offers buy 3 get 1 free. On top of this, they drop limited edition posters every Friday with some super cool ones like these that glow in the dark, and these ones with glitter and gloss ink. How cool is that? They have tons of options, and I would recommend browsing their site to see what they have to offer. They support independent artists all over the world, and they will support your room or face or body looking absolutely awesome 24/7. On top of this, every purchase supports the channel and it allows me to make videos like this. So if you're interested, be sure to check out the link in the description and use code robokast for 10% off your order. I just want to give one more thank you to Pixel Empire for sponsoring this video. Anyways guys, that's it for today's video, so I hope you all enjoyed. If there's any other games you want me to check out, drop a comment below. I will see you guys next time, and peace.